Welcome everyone. Today is August 5th, 2025. This is our full council meeting. Manor. Please stand as you're able so we get meeting started as we usually do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So bring on your vote.
Mr. Chester?
Here.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Dr. Fisher?
Here.
Primer?
Here.
Nail?
Here.
Mr. Michelson?
Here. Excellent. We have an agenda that's been proposed. It does include an executive session for matters of personnel and compensation, I believe. However, litigation, for matters of litigation. My understanding is that everyone has a most recent update via email. All the elected officials have an update via email, so the question's been posed. We still need to have that. So I'm looking at you.
Yes, I would like to still have that.
I second that.
Very good. That was my feeling as well. The attorney wanted to make sure that we asked that.
Nobody wants to be here until 10.
I like to add also
Right.
compensation.
Okay.
So
Make that part of your motion.
does the litigation need to be behind closed doors if it's already on public record?
It's
Email?
the conversation. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
So yes.
All right, so is there a motion to accept the agenda as published?
I would like to add I put forth a motion to accept the agenda with adding in to discuss compensation for employees.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second the amendment.
All in favor of the amended agenda?
Aye.
Without objection, I'll take that as unanimous. Thank you. We have minutes to be approved from July 7th and from August 5th. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at that sufficiently? Any questions, any amendments needed, edits? And if not, is there a motion to approve July 7th?
I believe I read them both, so I'll make a motion to approve July 7th.
Do you want to do both of them, or do you want?
We'll make it separate.
Copy and paste.
Aye.
Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then also a motion to approve August 5.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second
All those in favor?
it. Aye.
All right, we have Chief Denny Meter here for our district fire report. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Things are going along quite well. We actually have a few good items of news to report to you this evening. The medic unit that we ordered in the spring of 2022 was finally delivered to us on August 5th. 38 months from the time I signed the paperwork to the time we took delivery. And now we've got to spend time. We have to do upfitting, get obviously the radios, the equipment in, that type of thing. And then we have to do driver training because this is a little bit different field than our previous medic units that were on international chassis, more of a commercial style chassis. This one's on a F550 Ford heavy duty chassis. It's got 4-wheel drive. New electronics are a little different than how the old stuff works. So we will be working to get that on the road as soon as possible. So the sales rep said that the one that we ordered 18 months after the first one is in the queue for production. What that means is we don't know when it's going to be here, but at least they know it's going to exist. He's thinking maybe the first half of 2026. So again, it's going to be about a 3-year build. So, but we got one in. We're happy. We're excited, and we're looking forward to getting it out on the road. And again, if people would like to see it before it's making runs down here, feel free to stop up at the station. Doors are pretty much always open. So that's one bit of good news. The second bit is we have a new full-time firefighter paramedic. As we've discussed in some previous meetings, we've had a hard time, as well as everybody else in the county, getting paramedics for full-time positions. So last year, our fire board and we sat down, we came to an agreement on a plan that we would actually fund the paramedic tuition for somebody if we hired them that was just an EMT. And we opened that up to a couple of our, all the part-time staff was eligible. We hired 2 gentlemen from that process. The first one just received his National Registry paramedic license on the 8th of August, so he is good to go. The second one, he's still trying to get into a class. Class is real tight right now. He's on a couple waiting lists, but he has a couple years to go before we have to make a decision on how we proceed. So we expect that these guys are going to stick with us. We hired them from the part-time ranks. They're also, since we were paying for school, they also owe us some time on the back end. If they decide to leave for another department early, we'll get to call back some of that tuition. But again, they seem to be people that want to be with us. So we're real excited about seeing how the next one works out. So excited about that. I don't know how many of you follow the district on Facebook, but we had a post last week that 3 of our firefighters received the life-saving award from Jewish Hospital. They were recognized as a pilot program through Jewish. They want to recognize EMT crews that do something in the field kind of above and beyond what they might be expected. In this case, they recognized a pretty significant cardiac event, a heart attack, and they were able to administer some drugs that kept the rhythm the way it should be in order for the hospital to get the stent in place. It was one of the major arteries, was 99% blocked, and the patient, 4 weeks after the event, 5 weeks after the event, was there to present the awards to the crew. So if you haven't seen our Facebook page, check it out. It's about the only thing that we kind of update on a regular basis. So kudos to them. This really has nothing to do with good or bad, just what it is. We started the union negotiations for the new contract back last week, so August 12th, 2 weeks ago now. We expect that it's going to go pretty smooth. We have a pretty good relationship with the union. We think we have a good place to work. It shows that, and in the fact that we're probably going to get some negotiations knocked out in just a couple of months. So we're excited about that, get them going, and then we'll worry about that again in three more years. And finally, I would know we've had some discussion about upcoming financial levies or services that we got to look at. So I did get the official word from the Board of Elections that our levy is going to be on the ballot in November. This is for the Deer Park Silverton residents. This won't be up for vote in Gulf Manor or Columbia Township where we cover. It's going to be a 3.5 mil additional mill, which is on top of our 7.9 that we currently have. This is a continuing levy, just like our others. So once it's voted in, we don't have to go back until we might need funds at a later date. We believe that the passage of this, we know will raise just over $1 million a year for our budget. Like I told you guys in the past, we are still in pretty good financial shape, but we're starting to see where the trends are starting to really head down. We want to be ahead of the game, so we're not having to make drastic cuts to personnel or operations. Our residents have really supported our fire district over the years. This really only be we had the initial levy, and then we had one that raised, and this will be the 3rd time we've asked for an additional. So we're pretty confident that we've got the support of the district, the residents. So we're not looking for a big challenge, but we are going to make sure that we get the word out, and we have some education sessions and some flyers put out. So we just want to be ahead of the game. We have some challenges with some other issues that are going to be on the ballot, but we're confident that we're going to do all right. And that pretty much takes care of what I have to date at this point. Mayor Densmore caught me in the hallway beforehand and mentioned the health and wellness event on September 7th. I will try to get the on-duty crew at a minimum to come down for at least part of that event from 2 to 4. They can make runs from here as well as they can make runs from up there. Great chance to interact with residents, and you guys can meet some of the people and see what we're about. I told the mayor I'll be out of town, unfortunately, that weekend, but the people at the station they're willing to come down and do these things. They enjoy getting out. So, and I don't even think the NFL started at that point, so they don't have any excuse to sit around the station all day. And with that, is there anything else from the council or the mayor?
Excellent, thank you. I believe everyone here knows that when you were speaking about the levy, that you're speaking about Deer Park.
Correct.
Silverton residents.
Yes, correct.
Manor residents. It does affect us indirectly, but we wouldn't be having a levy for fire services on.
Correct. Yeah, this is just for the district itself. Anything else that would involve Gulf Manor is separate from us entirely. So.
Does that levy get taxed? It's from property tax?
Yes, it's a property tax.
So the levy on those areas helps fund you to come here too?
Yeah, so the initial fire district is Deer Park and Silverton, and those levies are what basically kept us in business to start the district.
We pay for service.
And then,
Yeah.
It's
so-
just not through our
yeah.
taxes.
But it's people that
In
we
that
know in
way.
those areas,
Mhm.
we should be promoting them to vote yes on it, because that'll fix everything.
Sure.
If you are willing to support us,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely never going to turn that down.
I know lots of people.
Chief
And,
Leader would love you to door knock.
And I know that again, this is the first levy that we've actually asked for since 2013. So I'm kind of in a learning curve too, because there's things that I didn't know you had to do or couldn't do, and I don't want to run afoul of any voting regulations. So I try to keep everything but I got legal counsel to help me out, so that's good. But yes, so it's just Deer Park and Silverton, but obviously any support that we can garner up. Like I said, we're planning for the future. We know that the current funds are going to dry up at some point, so we're just trying to be proactive and not ask for a bigger levy down the road. So
For clarification, what he's referring to, if those weren't tracking it, and correct me if I'm incorrect, when we have a levy in Gulf Manor, elected officials, administration are not allowed to say, hey, vote for the levy.
Correct, but if it's somewhere
But if it's
else.
somewhere else, sorry.
yeah, and it's different. My fire board has a little bit more leeway on doing things than I do or my employees do. The union members have a lot more leeway than administration does. So
But we're a neutral third party. in a
yes,
sense,
so.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate your
I
service.
appreciate it, and I'll get the crews down here on the 7th.
Awesome. Thank you. With that, I have a relatively brief mayor's report. Most of my time has been spent working on the fall celebration event. I sent out an email to all the members of the Recreation Commission as well, the Recreation Commission and all the members of community engagement to help be more transparent about some of the planning that's been going on with transition going on in administration. The communication has been consequently poorer than usual, and I'd emphasize usual with that. So it's in an attempt to keep everybody up to speed. Melody has helped me put together an email list so I can get that information out to folks. And I'll present some of that information here. So the committed, or the folks that have committed to being at our fall celebration event, food-wise, is Tiny Bistro. We have a taco truck and we have Kona Ice. We're going in the direction of bring your own beer. We were looking BYOB for the event. We had looked at, as recently as even today, looking at how we may be able to pull off having a beer truck there and some branding of glasses that could be used instead of wristbands. And people could purchase those branded glasses to have them filled at the beer truck. Our understanding from council is that if we can't do both, can't do BYOB and the beer truck. And because we're at the point where we need to start getting some branded flyers out to folks, we're going in the direction of BYOB instead of trying to do the truck situation. That I'm having a meeting tomorrow morning with Captain Reed on this and the administration. And if any of you have an idea where we could still be able to pull that off, your truck instead of doing BYOB, let me know, because that's where it's going to be finalized. That'll be tomorrow morning. If you can get in touch with me before 10 tomorrow morning on this. All right, so we'll have local merchants there as well. Ms. Mail has been working on that, I believe. She indicated that about 7 is what we're thinking in terms of some merchants there. Before 2 o'clock, we'll have band and vendor set up for kids events. Cincinnati Circus will be providing a bouncy house as well as inflatable games there, like throwing a football through a basket, shooting basketballs through a basket through these inflatable toy things. We're also going to have face painting there. So between 2 and 4 will be our health and wellness fair. We'll have band and vendor set up prior to that. 2 and 4, the health and wellness folks that have committed to being there are Care Source, American Heart Association, IM5, which is a mental health.
1 and 5.
1 and 5, sorry. I have glasses here. That's to represent that 1 in 5 individuals have a mental health crisis that occurs. to destigmatize that's not so rare of a thing that's going on. I apologize for misstating 1 and 5. Council on Aging, the Ohio State Extension Program, Chef Pamela will be there, as well as Hamilton County Public Health. And as we heard from Chief Peter, we'll also have them there. I came in on the end of the discussion here about the CIT team. I've been discussing with Captain Reed having a meet and greet with our community, with our Gulf Manor community impact team during that period as well. And that was in the context of inviting Chief Peter's first responders as well, so folks can meet the team of our folks that are actively in the community and being trained specifically to do things beyond just policing. Right, all of our guys are trained for that. But of course, this is a specific effort for us to have better community relations, more dialogue between the community and the police, and we'll give Captain Reed an opportunity to present that program to our community and to introduce the individuals that have been trained to be in those positions. We'll also then have a ribbon cutting for the walking path, which has recently opened up. So that's all exciting again between 2 and 4. Starting at 4, we'll have a DJ that's being provided by Second Wind Band, as well as those food and games, like I said, being added in there. And then from 6 to 8 p.m., we'll be having live music provided by Second Wind Band. Captain Reed and I are working on signage and flyers to be distributed. Our goal is to have those flyers going out this weekend, door to door, and the signage going up, and then doing another wave of flyers going out in the middle of next week, right, to make sure that everybody is aware of this. There's a number of, in that email that I sent out, there's also a call for volunteers and has very specific statements about what we need volunteers for, not just in general we need volunteers. In general, we need volunteers, but there's some specific details about what it is that we need some help with. And I'll make that available, that email available to our council members as well. And then it also reiterates our need for more volunteers with our council and commissions since I've opened up with that. So that's also in there, as well as a map that looks like this. You probably can't see it here, but there's it's a map of where vendors will be stationed in the park for various things. Where the merchant vendors will be at, where the food vendors will be at, where the bouncy house and kids kind of stuff is going to be at, where the health and wellness folks will be at, and where we're hoping to have a community engagement volunteer gathering information as people come in the park. So secondly, I attended the retirement celebration of our police dog, Chief, in the past couple of weeks. I don't remember the exact day. I think that was maybe the week before last is when I attended that. The 16th. Yes, correct. So the Haverkamp Foundation was there, which of course, many people don't know that we had an officer, our K-9 officer historically, who was killed in a car accident, and their family created a foundation to help support communities having K-9s as part of their police departments and everything. So at the retirement party, they were there, as well as handlers for the other K-9 units around Hamilton County and their families. It was a very large event, very nice, very well done. Did a proclamation there with Lieutenant Forrest, who is our K-9 handler. Also wanted to mention that former councilman Bob Harper, I sent an email to you, has graciously committed some funds to us being able to continue this kind of program beyond the retirement of chief. So we'll be following up the meeting with them as well as the PD department to help make this happen. Let's see. There is a mini grant for planning that has been announced. It's pre-application. So the way that this works, and I'm gaining more clarity on this the longer that I'm around, but Hamilton County regularly puts out planning grants as a part of helping communities move forward with their big ideas. all right? So a planning grant that helps you plan what it is that you're gonna do before just kind of going gung ho into it. We have some familiarity with the planning grant that we've been discussing in executive for quite a while now. There's another one that's available. The way they do this process is they do a pre-application process where, you know, you submit basically, this is what we want to do, and then they help you clean up your application, all right? And you have your final application that's due to be submitted. That pre-application date is September 5th, so it's coming up soon, but again, it can be basically a rough draft of what it is that you want to plan for. And then that full application is due on the 26th. I've heard individuals talk about how, you know, we like to have a grand plan for all of our property development and park development. One of the ideas that was recently percolated with me because this grant was presented to me was perhaps to put forth a planning grant for North Weehee. All right, not to say that it's going to be completely independent of everything else. Part of our planning grant could be how are we going to integrate this with the other things that we got going on. So I'll be discussing this further with the administration. If others of you have input on this, certainly let me know. As Mr. Britnoff has stated, we'll be talking more in his report. Within the administration, we've started an initiative to help make sure that our handling of documents and everything is more precise and better done. And one of the pieces of this is rolling out remote desktop, which is a way, I know a number of you have already had some practice with this, and Eric will talk more specifically about it. But it's a way for you to not have to use like Google Docs to share documents. You can log in and it's just like you're on your government computer, right? This in connection as well with what we've done recently with creating a contract so that we can get devices out to folks on council and on leadership positions in our committees and commissions that don't have a way to, that don't have a device. These two things kind of dovetail into one another to really help with the way we're handling documentation and work for the village. So I want to thank both our attorney and Eric for their work on moving this forward. The piece of this as well is our onboarding presentation, which we were hoping to have going on tonight, but it's been pushed back to September for onboarding, meaning giving more precise definitions and direction for our volunteers that are essentially on council as well as on committees and on commissions about what the scope of their work is. I think that's it. There's a couple more things that we're working on with the administration in the interest of brevity and to keep things running more smoothly. I'll turn it over to Mr. President if there are no other questions.
I actually do have a question. How much so far is this event costing? The band is how much?
The band was 4,000. Is that
Okay.
correct?
4,000.
4,000 is the band.
And how many vendors are any of them charging us?
One is charging $100.
And all the vendors show up at like you want them all there by 2 and set up by 2?
The merchant vendors, that's up to what
Okay.
you feel they would prefer to do.
Okay,
Our health wellness stuff is all going on from 2 to 4, so they're setting up for 2.
okay, and then, so advertisement, how much is that costing?
Yeah, so the discussions between Reed and I were to do in-house publishing of flyers and to send out my team going door to door, get those on everyone's doorstep. He said he would help with when they're out in the community, getting that to be
So
as well.
to be clear, that's not part of the overtime though, that the police are charging?
Correct.
to go?
No, this
Okay.
isn't them. This is when they're out and about already.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So this just sounds like $4,000, $4,100 then.
right. So if you're familiar, and I forgot to thank Mr. Former Councilman Danny Knipp for his willingness to. He was in a coordination role that he stepped back from on this event, but he is still willing to allow us to use his shade tents, right, for vendors, and also his subway signs that we can
Like the
create
frames,
shades
just
for.
with the.
Right. So what we'll be hoping to complete tomorrow, I have some designs for those to run by Captain Reed tomorrow as far as our branding for this and for future events and everything. And then getting some pricing from Danny on how much the vendors that he uses for that. You can usually get them very low price. That's the only
Okay,
other.
so you have to pay for that
Anticipated
sign,
price.
but you think that's, okay.
Yeah, but I don't have a number for that. That's the other area of cost. But yeah, Kona, ICE, one of the things that you can do for future events, if we have funds, we can go ahead and pay them, and they can give out this stuff free to kids, right? This is all the vendors are, you're paying for stuff.
And will food all show up before too?
Correct.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Some of them, actually, let me walk that back because I left that up to them. I said, we're starting events at 2. They'll be here, there'll be folks here between 2 and 4. And there's as you can see on the map that I sent out, you can see where the food vendors are separate from where the health and wellness folks are, as well as the other merchants. And I just opened it up to them saying, if I told them where they can set up and when they'll have access to, the easiest time for them to set up would be between before 2 p.m. Because then we're gonna have vendors that are set up, it's gonna be hard for them to do that.
And then I guess last questions, no fireworks, no drones.
That's my understanding of where things stand now. There hasn't been a pitch
That's
for
not
that
cheap.
with budget. Has there?
No one has discussed anything
Okay.
about fireworks or drone shows.
Okay. Okay.
That's it. If somebody wants fireworks and drones, and if some people do, they can bring that to us and we can discuss that. But my understanding right now is that there isn't anything earmarked for that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Pass it on, Mr. Goodman.
Okay, so I did try and keep this as clear as possible, so I will try and summarize and not read off of the reports. So gas aggregation, we did receive a contract proposal for gas aggregation. I thought that we passed I thought that was passed already. It was actually, electric was passed by council. It happens to be that the gas aggregation is pretty close per CCF to the best apples to apples price that you can get to have no cancellations, no monthly fees. It's at 53.3 cents per CCF. I looked at that, and considering all of the information that we have about aggregation, it seemed to me that that was an appropriate move to go forward with. So I did tell them to move forward with that, again, operating under the assumption that the council had already approved that. So I'm asking for council to approve that retroactively, but not without a caveat. The same energy alliances approached me and asked me about the energy aggregation, which technically council has already approved. I thought it would be appropriate in the spirit of transparency to at least tell you, since the timing worked out, for the price that they are proposing for us to lock in. That is about 9.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Currently, Duke is offering 10.43 cents per kilowatt hour. As you probably noticed, your Duke bill is really, really high. So this would be about a 6% reduction. They estimate that 6% reduction will, in the long term, be better for the village. It's pretty close to the price that Duke has right now, but again, with a Duke variable rate, it could go significantly higher, it could go significantly lower. What Rich Sir has told me from Energy Alliances is that they have already bid out the energy prices for, I think, second quarter through second quarter of next year, which means that we basically know that their price is not going to go down. Again, this is what he told me. I have not had time to significantly research this, as I had mentioned before, and I think we had discussed before, this was already authorized from before, but I didn't want to move forward without at least sharing with council, and if there's any objections, I would stop, but if there are no objections, I would continue and basically sign at that rate, at the 9.7 cents per kilowatt hour. I'm not gonna pretend that that's a great price compared to apples. I would encourage residents to go to the apples website and sign up for a better rate, one without any monthly fees or cancellations. But you know, his main explanation is that you can get better rates because there's extra energy out there from the projections of each of these small companies. They can't offer such a huge population, like 1,700 households in Gulf Manor, that same rate. They have to give you a rate which fits their capacity and the projections that they can supply. 9.7 cents per kilowatt hour is not a terrible price, but you could definitely get better. But for the village, this definitely is a reduction compared to what we're seeing in Duke currently and what we're expecting from Duke over the next 12 months.
Would you mind sharing, just so it's on record and anyone watching, you know, we briefly spoke, I had questions about if someone had previously opted out and signed up for their own.
Yeah.
You know, how it works to get back on the
Good.
village aggregation.
Yes, very good question. So if a person does choose to sign their own contract with an energy supplier, when they do when Energy Alliances does the aggregation, they do a sweep through all of the names and they ensure that anybody who was opted out, obviously is not put on the new plan if they're happier with their supplier. But what they also do is they sweep for expired contracts and they do that multiple times throughout the 12-month period. I think they are scheduled for 2 sweeps. So one is at the beginning and the other one is 6 months later. So anybody who would otherwise, you know, their contract ends in 3 months or 5 months, they could get back on the Energy Alliances automatically. And if you know your contract is ending, you can reach out to them directly and they can enroll you if you request it. But they only automatically enroll available accounts 2 times, one at the beginning and then one at the 6-month point.
Mhm.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions on that?
So do you have an idea of what happens if you've opted out so that you're just with Duke?
You will be paying more for your electric.
Right, I mean, if you previously have opted out, you're not under a contract with Duke, you
Then
just
you-
opted out.
I believe that remains. Once you opt out, you would have to opt back in.
Okay,
It
so,
doesn't renew by the contract.
so my question was gonna be, how do you know, that resident wouldn't know that there's an aggregation
Correct, because they had opted out.
of a previous?
Correct.
Right, okay. So they would still be contacted, like you were saying, during the sweep.
If they've opted out, I do not believe that they will be
Right, because they
contacted.
don't have a expiring contract.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. So, moving on to the volunteer walking path, the walking path was completed on August 8th. My thanks to council and the mayor for making this important community improvement possible. Certainly an infrastructure project that everybody seems to agree with. Funding for the project included $25,000 from American Tower, $35,000 from Hamilton County, and $21,128 from ARPA funds. Thank you to HUSEC for moving quickly on the project and completing it approximately 14% under budget. I will also point out that they could not have done that without our village engineer, who dropped another project and came to us on Monday of the following week after we had signed the contract with HUSEC after the previous council meeting, and they staked the entire walking path. I mean, really, really hands down to JMATC. Hands up. Hands up? No, not hands up. I don't know. Yeah, do the way.
Giving them clap,
Okay.
snaps.
Yeah, give them a round of applause, right? My words are failing me this evening. Final cost was $81,128, which is again $13,300 below the original quote. A few updates on road projects. Yosemite Ridge Acres program, the combined water line and road improvement project on Yosemite Ridge Acres remains on schedule. They did start earlier. They had availability, but things had slowed down a little bit, and again, coordinating with all of the different contractors is not always, oh, we're early, we're early, so come early. But it was available. Water line replacement is slated to begin in mid-September, and asphalt work is anticipated for completion in mid-October. There'll still be striping needed and other finishing touches, but the meat of the project should be done by mid-October. For any residents who are complaining about access to their driveways, they should have access to their driveways. It just might be a little bumpy. Los Angeles Avenue Gateways intersection project is continuing. Bump outs have been completed. Final stage involves the installation of these signal stanchions and removal of outdated utility signal poles. Unfortunately, they're on back order with no clear delivery date. We kind of knew that this might happen. However, the advantage is all traffic issues which would have come from the project have basically been nothing. I mean, it was a little bit over the summer with camp drop off for anyone who sends their kids to camp over there. but generally speaking, was not extremely disruptive, and they're finished. So it's just a matter of installing the poles. The Rosedale Avenue sinkhole, there was a sinkhole that had developed on Rosedale Avenue. If you want to see pictures, it was really wild. You could probably have climbed inside of it. It was massive. That has been repaired by Greater Cincinnati Waterworks promptly after it had surfaced. Damage sidewalk, however, remains outstanding, and we are waiting to hear from Waterworks regarding the timeline for repairs. Unfortunately, huge hole, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, huge hole in the middle of the street fixed quickly. Damaged sidewalks from long-term disrepair in pumps, we call it. The pumps. No,
Storm drains?
Fire hydrants, thank you. Parking the pump. Parking the pump, out of that, so that's what's in my mind. Those take a lot longer, so there's that. The police department took delivery of the new Chevy Silverado, which will replace the frontline unit 122. Outfitting of the new vehicle will take several months, as we saw with Tahoe, and the truck is not expected to be in service until late fourth quarter, although we are very excited that our 2026 purchase will be ready at the beginning of 2026. Information technology update. So Signal Hill, that's our guy Brett. He has enabled remote desktop access for all members of council. Your login is remote.golfmanoroh.gov. And that meaning that's the name of the computer you're logging into, and then your username and password are the same as your email. If you need help with that, please reach out to me. I am pretty proficient at getting that. And again, the purpose of that is to increase collaboration, be able to share files, use the same formats. You have access to the entire Microsoft Works suite. So you have Outlook, you have your calendar, you have all Excel and Word and all that.
Have you set it up for Mac before?
Yes, you helped me with it.
I'll be happy. I did for both of them on Zoom.
I only have
It's
a calculator,
really
WordPad, and Paint.
It's really easy, and I'm
Most
so
useful.
happy. That's interesting. So it seems that about the majority of this room has.
I don't know what's going on with
computers of council. Anyway,
I'll go to that. Get up to date.
what?
Get up to date.
I like my PC, so I went Mac for a little while. Okay, fine. Anyway, again, shared files are available for council and committees within the platform. If there's a specific file that you need, if there's a specific format that you need, just ask me and I'll put it in the file. Credentials have been sent to your email accounts. If you need help with that, again, reach out to me, please. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions or concerns.
You done? Sorry.
Wow.
Oh, my bad. Anyone have a paper airplane I can throw in?
I think I speak on behalf of all council about the great work Mr. Ridenoff has done with regard to that remote desktop. If you haven't been on it yet, you will fully appreciate it, what you have, because it is huge. We've struggled, I know I personally have struggled for years getting access, because I have a Mac, to a lot of the applications and collaborative tools that we have at our disposal. So this is really huge. This is available to everyone. So thank you. Do you have anything with regard to fiscal officer?
I think it was all discussed in finance, and the only thing I would ask is for a motion and second to approve the finance reports for June and July.
Motion to approve.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is that the end of both reports?
Yep.
All right. Chief Campbell.
Good evening. First thing I have for you is the mayor's court report for the month of July. Total to the village, $2,848. Total to the state, $554. $21 went to the county for a grand total of $3,423. That is the end of the July mayor's court report.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the mayor's court report?
Motion to accept the mayor's court report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next thing I have it in order here, is the activity report for the month of July. I think that was shared. 389 calls for service were made in July. A lot of it, again, was self-generated, business checks, things like that, which always is important to me that we're out there doing that before we're responding to things. That was that. And I also have the Community Impact Team report, Lieutenant Forrest presented or prepared. They did the town hall event at the synagogue. I wish I had pictures to share because it was really impressive. They had a lot of good conversations there and had a good time doing it. And they've also responded to some issues, quality of life issues. I know there's a resident that some of our members went to assist with having that person removed. So they assisted with the eviction process. And they also worked with somebody, making sure that they're capable of driving after an incident that occurred. So it's a really good level of follow-up to make sure that these issues are dealt with and kind of finalized versus lingering. And then lastly, wanted to congratulate Lieutenant Forrest and Chief. They were a great team. I was out of town with family. I was sorry to miss that event. But yeah, they couldn't have asked for a better team. They should be very proud.
Do you have a report of how many times the dog was deployed in Gulf Manor and for what reasons?
I don't have that.
Could you please
He
get
tracks
for us? Could you please get that for our next meeting?
I know there was some talk on social media about a bunch of activity that occurred here within the past week. It's like my understanding is from what was on social media is there was some kind of a chase that occurred starting well outside Gulf Manor and ended in Gulf Manor with some assistance from Gulf Manor Police Department. Can you speak to that at all at this time, or is it too soon to be able to do that?
Because it's an outside incident that we assisted with, I would defer to them.
Any other questions for Chief County? Excellent, then, if not, Mr. Butler,
Thank you. There's two pieces of legislation in front of you. The first being 2025-22 regarding purchasing property at 6258 Hamilton Code. And Utilization Corporation, as you can see, is costing us $1,000. And it's just part of the whole, I think, scheme to purchase properties within the village so we can control the development.
Motion to read by title only.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2025-22, resolution authorizing purchase and sales agreement for property located at 6258 Graceland Avenue.
Is there a motion to accept, and then any discussion?
Motion to accept.
Motion to pass, you?
Motion to pass.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second, but I still want to discuss
Right, yeah,
it.
under Robert's rules, you
Okay.
get a second, and then there's discussion.
So is this the same, I'll second it. Is this the same household, I think, like a nonprofit organization, or same property, I think a nonprofit organization reached out to us because they wanted to put like a group home or something on this lot? Is this the same?
I believe so, yes.
So what is our plan with this space?
So, my understanding, and council administration can correct me if this is incorrect. Our understanding was that we, Gulf Manor, owned that property, like going way back when it was first taken over by the port, that we had said yes, they had asked us, and we said yes, that we'd like that. So when the question came up about, hey, can we use this, there was several conversations that were occurring. The one that I was tracking was, wait, don't we own this? How is it being, like, shouldn't they be coming directly to us and not through the port? And as we looked into it, it hadn't been given to us, but subsequently when we said, hey, don't you remember that we did that? They then said, yes, that's correct, and then it was given to us. Is that
It's not given to us.
Well,
We gotta
we
pay
paid
for
for
it.
it. We paid $1,000.
Not yet. We're
But
close.
the question is, what are we gonna do with it? To my understanding, we denied that nonprofit the opportunity to build on that space, right? But do we have a plan with that space?
My understanding is that we didn't deny them.
Like, we didn't own it to say yes, but if now that we own it, are we gonna say yes?
My understanding is they have already moved on,
Okay.
right? So that would be a matter for, there would have to be a variance. So that'd be a matter for planning commission.
Goes with planning first.
Okay,
So, but yeah, that's welcome.
okay, but it sounds like we do not have a plan for this space.
No,
No, I mean, just to maintain it and ensure that it doesn't fall into disrepair, which I believe is the reason why it was condemned and demolished.
Oh, so there was a household on it?
Oh, yeah. No,
I was
this
wondering about
was-
just like an empty lot.
Yeah,
in the
no, this
middle
was,
of
this
nowhere.
was,
And then
I
another
think I was on council when it was demolished, or it was right after, I got on council right after it was demolished.
Okay.
But essentially, somebody has to take care of the property, and when it's in the village's property, so our maintenance guys will mow it, but if it's in the ports, so technically they're supposed to take care of it, which,
But we've been doing that for years.
because we thought that we owned it, correct? So.
Are there any other properties that they own in this community that we're unaware of?
Board,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I know.
we have a map that was drawn up that we had asked council to draw up that has a list of what are the properties that we
Well,
own.
we know what we own, whether the port usually comes to us.
Right, but if this happened and we only found out about it because a developer somebody came and said, I want to buy this, or I want to develop on it, and then we said no.
I'm just saying somebody else, if they own properties, they usually come to us.
Yes.
And say, you want to buy it from us.
So was this property on that map?
I don't believe it was.
Right, because we didn't actually own it.
Right.
Because
That's- so
when the
that-
map was created, it was based on what's on the auditor, and the auditor did not
Right.
have our.
I'm just curious if we can have a conversation, see if they own any other properties in the village that
I can.
we're unaware
make a
of.
phone call. They're very responsive.
Yeah.
So I could certainly look into it.
Any other discussion? Any other questions? The motion's been made and seconded. Are we ready for a roll call?
One more question. Can we actually share that map that was created back out? Because I think it was shared in a meeting, but I don't think we ever have a digital copy of it, of like all the
Yes.
properties we own.
Yes. Yes. And
Thank
I honestly, I wasn't extremely happy with that map. What I wanted was something you could visualize, and that's not what we got. And so
Okay.
I'm gonna take that and make it bigger. And
This
you really need to, I really wanted to spell out kind of the areas, so you could focus on those areas for purchasing more property.
Or understanding what we actually currently own, so that we,
That's,
yeah, I understand, because we're, in my report, we're gonna talk about a business and park development plan, why we passed on the park master plan, all of that, and we can't do any of this work unless we actually have a clear idea of like what properties we actually own,
got it.
and like maybe where we actually want to develop, because we've centralized and talked about North Weehee, but now we have a random plot of land on Mayflower or Graceland, wherever this is. So it's a hodgepodge, and I think council needs to strategically understand what we own, why we own it, or do we just want to put that plot of land up for sale and see who wants to build a house on it and get rid of it? Because why are we sitting on assets that aren't bringing in tax
That's fair.
income?
I understand, I think.
I was gonna ask when you can get that out to council.
I'd say, what'd you say? I heard something coming from the left. I'll endeavor to get it out. Let's give me 2 meetings. Okay.
2 council meetings?
Okay, 1 council meeting.
I was just clarifying, just
The
clarifying.
last council meeting, yes.
2 council meetings, okay.
How about tomorrow?
I mean, David's at tonight.
You see
More
what I-
generous.
I'll give you extra time.
I didn't hear.
And to clarify, my understanding of policy of previous administrations up to current administration has been when a property needs to be condemned, part of that process is us then saying to the port, who we're asking for help with condemnation and to knock it down, saying that, yeah, we would like to have the option of controlling that property because A, we can get it for such a low price, all right, and it opens up opens up opportunities for council if they want to do something, to be able to do something with that property. But yeah, well stated, we should just be acquiring properties. But this is in the context of properties that are being condemned, is where this is coming from.
You know, we acquire properties in a lot of different ways. And I don't know that I disagree with what you're saying, and I recognize it's a hodgepodge, but on the other hand, when, for example, there's a tax foreclosure on the property in the village of Manor, if if no one else bids on it, they offer it to the village basically free of charge. The taxes stay with it until we tax exempt it, but the taxes are always stay with us. But acquiring properties in that fashion doesn't seem to me to be bad to him, even if there's not a real vision you can see in terms of they're lined up next to each other. I mean, there's always a use. You can make a pocket park, you can do lots of things with properties that just seem to be on an island.
It's important to have a list of them as.
It's important to know what you got. I don't have an issue with that. But if you're acquiring real estate as a village and it's dirt cheap or doesn't cost us anything, it's hard to pass that up. Because again, you never know what's gonna happen when you might wanna develop. Again, even if it's just a pocket park.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you say that. Like, it has my support because it is so cheap. What I don't like is the idea is that somebody had a plan for it, and this was a nonprofit that had an opportunity to build a residential home, and we tell them no, just for whatever reason, and then we buy it and don't have a plan for it, when it could have been used to help somebody.
I got you.
So, but I mean, it's funny, you say a pocket park, like, maybe we just give this to rent, like, this person unhappy with us, this is the peace offering. So, but I mean, like, put a dog park there, I don't know if the neighbors on each side were like that, but there's at least a plan for it that put it to some use, so.
Well, I don't mean to step on council's toes because ultimately.
I'll step on everybody's toes in here.
Okay,
They're
now,
gonna-
it's out there.
Valid.
But my point is, it is up to council.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's some sort of vision
Your toes too?
I'm well aware you're on my toes.
Put the pool on.
Any other discussion on this legislation?
Put the pool.
Are we ready for a roll call? Mr. President, roll call.
Ms. Chesser.
Yep.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Dr. Bishop.
Yes.
Ms. Grimer.
Yes.
Ms. Gill.
Yes.
Mr. Michaels.
Yes. Excellent, thank you.
Next is resolution 2025-23 regarding the gas aggregation program. Mr. Prudhoff addressed that in his report.
Motion to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2025-23, a resolution authorizing, retroactively authorizing the village administrator to enter into a contract with Interstate Gas Supply Inc. to provide natural gas to village residents under the energy aggregation program.
Is there a first and a second and then discussion?
First.
Second.
I think you actually have to say the words.
Motion to pass for discussion. Pass. Motion, I just feel uncomfortable saying
Just a
pass.
second. You just-
Motion to
Second
pass.
motion. Please.
All right, so I believe it's been first and second. Is there any discussion?
Am I recalling correctly that we didn't pass this because he said that he wasn't recommending it at the time because he couldn't get us to agree?
That was, I got confused too. That was the electric aggregation. This is gas aggregation.
Should these have been passed at the same time
No.
and we just missed one? No?
No,
Okay.
because they're totally different contracts, and the contracts come when they come, and they basically, they wait for Duke to go through a certain level of auctions, and then once those auctions are done, then everybody starts going with what aggregation they think they can make.
So when should we be able to this?
I mean, maybe a month ago, maybe
Okay.
the last week, but I'm seeing with the
Yeah.
7-week
Yeah.
break in the summer.
Any questions? Yeah, and to just reiterate the point, if you've, be clear, if you're a resident, that if you've declined your electric, this is completely different. You would still be automatically enrolled on it.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Is the, I don't think we covered, is there, we mentioned if someone had, unenrolled themselves, is there a way for them to re-enroll?
Yes, they just have to
If
reach
they
out.
know that this is happening, which is part of it.
Yeah.
They just were putting, have to reach out to Energy Alliances and say, put me back in.
Can we put that in contact information somewhere on the website?
Yeah.
I can ask, I can ask what it, more specific.
Yeah, that'd be great. Even if we have like a 5 bullet point somewhere, like call here, ask for Steve, tell him to put you on the list, you know, something like that.
That'd be excellent.
Brandon.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Chester?
Yep.
Mr. Fisher?
Yeah.
Dr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer?
Yes.
Ms. Nail?
Yes.
Why is my voice?
Thus concludes my
Every time I
report.
say yes.
Thank you.
Are you done?
Are you done? Oh, but I have like 4 reports in a row, so I didn't want to say I was gonna do it.
Yes. My report?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Got it. Apparently I just closed it. Oh, please. All right, so executive committee met today. We reviewed both proposals for the park master plan and approved a motion to not move forward with either at this time and instead to use the Hamilton County grant to fund a portion of the walking path, as Eric mentioned earlier. We would like to eventually move into a full strategic plan development process that includes the North Weehee development along with the park. This would be a joint effort with Community Engagement Committee and on the future use of the park and potentially the Economic Development Commission or committee. I don't recall which it is. We also had an update on our committee goals. So we are working on a pay equity audit. I don't have an update at this point, but I will reach out to the county for next steps. Council member or committee member David Fisher also met with our team and did a management audit. The next meeting will discuss the findings of his management audit during an executive session. Dr. Minna Fisher is also working on an onboarding and collaborative tool. The solicitor, as we heard, is working on a training for new council members, and Dr. Fisher will work with the solicitor to capture that training so we have a codified document to refer back to. The interim administrator has also shared information on a remote desktop, which also supports the collaborative tool that Dr. Minna was working on. More details to come as that rolls out or any tweaks, anything there. Points for discussion is really just who leads that joint strategic planning process for a park and business development. The way that we were framing it and talking about it was a 10-year strategy. What do we actually want to envision for these areas so then we can make thoughtful, meaningful decisions. That's it.
So any questions for Chair Penn? All right, thank you. Planning Commission, looks like the next scheduled Planning Commission meeting is Monday, August 8th, pending any business. Do we know if this is correct?
Not at this time.
So there's already a meeting going on at 6. Is that the right day?
It is the
Yep,
right
they're
date.
overlapping.
It was planned to conflict with that has to be made. At the end of the last planning commission, there was a statement that is in conflict with is it community engagement, is it at the same time? Executive. So, I mean, you can choose a different location or they can choose a different location. I don't know how to like, if a commission or committee decides this is when they're meeting, I don't know what else to do other than say, they can move to the hall.
And they will have a meeting where there's their meetings TBD.
That's pending business.
So do we know if they have business?
As of
Great,
now.
so we're solving a problem we
It's
don't know
only
if we need
if
to. All
someone asks for variance. to do that.
Cool.
That's
right,
fine.
so please let me know if they actually have that meeting and then we need to pivot, but otherwise.
Okay, so I actually do have because we had a meeting, so I do have a report for that. So the latest Planning and Zoning Commission meeting was on Monday, August 4th at 7 p.m. We approved a request for a variance. Residents desire to build an addition to their property. This property is at 2327 Lasanaville Avenue. The variance allows for a 36-foot setback rather than the required 40-foot setback, so less than 4 feet on the south side of the property of the proposed addition. I have a little figure here from their drawing. And as we just said, the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 8th at 7 p.m. pending business.
So, any questions for liaison? Community engagement.
And this is a much longer report. The latest Community Engagement Committee meeting was held today at 6 p.m. We discussed the little food pantries, the fall concert, redesign/redevelopment of the village website, and more postcards, this time to collect resident contact information. So the update for the little food pantries will be in a We Thrive report, which I'll give next. I was gonna give it to you, but I never sent it to you. I wrote it for you.
Emergency.
So the Labor Day cookout originally scheduled for Monday, September 1 is canceled, as we already talked about. I'll just skip over that, because we already talked about it. But basically, there's this fall concert instead. Regarding the website, so Dr. Amina and I have formed a mini committee with multiple residents who completed the communication survey. The mini committee has met twice. The first meeting was on Wednesday, July 30th, and the second was on Monday, August 11th. The scope of this mini committee is to write and distribute a request for proposals with an emphasis on website redevelopment. We want that done by November 2025, when it terms in. So during our first meeting, I presented the contract for the Village mobile app, and Dr. Bennett presented the results of the communication survey. During our second meeting, we reviewed the websites of other communities and created a list of questions to ask the village IT consultant. We have since received the answers to those questions and a wealth of additional knowledge. We're currently reviewing all this information and independently writing drafts for the RFP. During our next mini committee meeting, we will compile these drafts into one document. That next meeting, I think, is September 2nd. That's right, thank you. So recommendations as of now, based on the information we know coming out of this mini committee. So we want to prioritize redeveloping the website. Residents on the mini committee, they say the website should focus on news and announcements along with updated calendar of council meetings and community events. The website should also include a link that directs viewers to our YouTube channel to watch these meetings, our council committee meetings. And the website should also include a page for new neighbors with information regarding things like RETA and this energy aggregate. Another recommendation, discontinuing support of the mobile app and exploring push notification services that are cheaper than the cost of the app maintenance. Another recommendation, collecting more email addresses by placing a QR code on the next postcard mailer, which we have to decide if that's something we really want to do. And finally, the last recommendation is to not prioritize upgrading the audiovisual equipment at this time. Our next community engagement meeting, not the mini committee, but the actual community engagement committee is scheduled for Monday, September 8th at 6 p.m.
Any questions for our chair of community engagement? Excellent. We private report.
I wrote it for her, but never sent it to her to give it to her, but I'll do it here. So, the last month, like since our last, council meeting, we've had two We Thrive meetings. One was held Wednesday, July 9th at 1. The other one was held Wednesday, August 6th at 1. During the second meeting, Karen Schwamberger, is that her?
Yeah.
Okay. She presented what she calls the CHA, the Community Health Assessment Report. So I have attached to these notes, the meeting summaries and this CHA report. So as you guys are already aware, the little free pantries, we have, council approved legislation to address food insecurity. We have since we resubmitted our proposal. It's been approved by Hamilton County. They've sent us as of, I guess now, all $1,000 of funding that they awarded. So far, we have purchased supplies for 2 pantry boxes, still waiting on some of those if we have not received it already. And resident Danny Lake has volunteered to construct both of these pantry boxes, so be sure to thank her for her help. The location for the first little pantry box is at the Pleasant Ridge Gateway on Santiville near Tiffany's Beauty Studio. The second will be right across the street near Volunteer Park. Also, the chronic pain self-management classes, that ended. We have 8 individuals who completed the series of classes, $50 per person, $400 gets to go to rec. And the next We Thrive meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 10th at 1 p.m.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions concerning the We Thrive report?
And then I got one more. This is the rec.
I want to just real briefly say that Karen with We Thrive, who's our representative with Hamilton County Public Health, was instrumental in getting the introductions that I needed for all those vendors that are coming for the health and wellness event. I just wanted to publicly thank her for that. It was huge.
And for the rec report, this one will be pretty short. Again, since our last meeting, they have met twice. One was on Monday, July 14th, and the other was on Monday, August 4th. So I didn't get to attend the July meeting, but commissioners reported back to me that they used that time to express their frustration with the poor communication from the village administration. Chair Alan LaFollette has since resigned from the commission and intends to address full council during our September meeting with support from the other commissioners. Now, the August meeting, they actually didn't even form. So that shows you that's kind of morale and communication right there. But positively, their Yard of the Month program is still ongoing. The winner for August lives at 6465 Hamel Avenue. To nominate a yard, whether it's yours or a neighbor's, you can complete the submission form online. And then the next Recreation Commission meeting is held. What's that date? Because it conflicts with another meeting. Do you know?
It's the,
15th or also the 8th? It's not also the 8th.
what, for recreation? I
Yes.
don't know when is the recreation meeting?
Well, they didn't have quorum last time, so they didn't pick a date, but online it conflicts
Oh,
with
I have
something else, and I left it blank, because I didn't think that time was right.
Whatever's on the calendar is.
Okay, give me a second, I'll
Look at it,
confirm
one
that.
second.
It's a race. So
Recreation is
September
on the
1,
1st. Yeah,
that's
which
a
is
holiday,
Labor Day.
yeah, that's why I didn't put it down, okay. So I'll just say September 1, because I haven't heard otherwise, but at 6 p.m.
Right, they'll need to vote leadership at
Yeah.
that time, I believe, if someone's gonna rescind their resignation, I believe
Right.
you still need to be reelected.
Right, it's been about a year now. You should do it every year, okay. I'm done.
Any other questions? To the Recreation Commission?
What's for updates?
Right. Excellent, Finance Committee report, Mr. Fisher.
We met tonight and, we went through the financial packets. We got those approved. We got those approved. We had a quick conversation about upping salaries of or compensation for the council members. And, that discussion will be tabled at a more appropriate date as this cycle got, passed according to our solicitor. We missed the deadline on that. We did get a warning that the police department is going to be asking for some more funds for overtime because they are short-staffed in the report.
Well, I think it's important to also add in there that we talked about the event, the fall festival, and like, is that one way that we could scale back the overtime for the police?
Right.
Just because other people that are helping with that weren't in the room for finance.
There was an ask to see if there's ways to overtimes for the event or something else, if it's gonna be costing us a lot of money just to have police officers.
Specifically the CIT team. And you were talking about having them be there, but we were also balancing if we're 1.5, I think, right? 1.5 at the budget currently,
1.5%.
which we still have 3 more months.
Not a comfortable place to be.
Great, right. So how do we balance that out?
Right, are they separate buckets, CIT and
No,
police overtime?
It's coming, it's
Are
all,
are we working towards that? Is that been an ask? I'm just,
Working towards what?
CIT being a separate bucket going into the next budget process. It'd be a separate fund.
not that we've seen in the budget allocations that we just passed. Or the, what are the tax budget? If we wanted that, we could do that by the end of the year, I think. I don't think we had to do that in the tax budget.
It depends on whether the state authorizes the fund. Certain are, and then we have to, if certain are not, then we have to request it from the state auditor's office. So it's not something we can just do
I think
without.
I don't think it's so necessary as long as there's a detailed budget of what, initiatives or things are estimated how much, we have for our budget for the years for those things. Like, how much are we spending on the team
Right.
annually? If it's coming from this fund, it's it's nice to have everything granularized that way, but as long as it's decent budget. it's fine.
As, to address, some of the concerns about, are we just wanting to pay some people to stand around? I think, from previous presentations that we've received, we can bring in, Captain Reed or other members of the CIT, group to address this. The idea, particularly at the fall event, is to introduce them so the community knows what their mission is, out in the community. And, as we've had at other events, and this was before we even had CIT, we had, officers tossing footballs, with guys and with our kids and everything that are there. That's huge, I think, as far as community building, not having them just stand around. I know that sometimes happens, but I think that it's incumbent on us to give them more direction. I think they're receptive.
I don't think standing around meant just
Right.
standing around doing nothing, but it's a term used for just generally being there to meet individuals and being instead of a dedicated.
And to be clear, because this was my idea, my suggestion, and I said there is a pros and cons. We are like, if this is an area that we feel we need to scale back on the budget, there is the negative that like we are not investing in community building, which we've also said is like important, but we have to weigh. And we did not say, Chief Campbell, cut your team. We just said, look at it. We trust you as the leader of the police department to make that decision. And if you can scale back maybe the number of officers or the time frame they're there, we trust your leadership to do that. But that was a suggestion when we were faced with 1.5 times the budget, and we have 3 more months left. We have to make
Not
those.
1.5 times, 1.5%.
Well, that's different.
It's not insignificant.
It's not
still about
insignificant, but yes,
$30,000-$40,000
exactly.
running, but
Right.
that's-
When we're
I-
arguing
yeah,
about
sorry,
$35,000 for a park, $20,000 is a huge number. When we only have so much left in our ARPA funds, we don't have an endless general budget, like, this is not an insignificant number. And so the suggestion was, next finance meeting, we're gonna have a report on like, what do we think the overtime is gonna be? What is a proposed option for where these are coming from? The idea was mentioned that the one thing not in our control between now and the next meeting is this fall festival event. Is there a way to potentially scale back? Not
That's
dictating that we were doing any of this, but you're planning with that team. You were in that conversation, and I think it's helpful. To be aware of what we're facing.
I guess that conversation
Yeah,
was- I wasn't in there.
We try to, 100% control overtime. Every hour consumed, we're conscious of that. But, we want our PD to participate and engage the community. And so I don't want to put out there like, well, come if you can. It's the same for the 4th of July. Before CIT, you still saw all the officers there. They're still giving up time to come in and do it, and we compensate them for it. And, in the event that, something happens and somebody gets injured, I'm not going to have them standing there, in a voluntary mode. But they're definitely not coming for the overtime. They're coming for this mission. The people just didn't get handed a T-shirt and say you're on CIT. It's a very thorough, thoughtful team that was built, with Captain Reed's input. People interviewed to be a part of it. We made sure that it was a fit. And we're definitely trying to balance making sure that the budget can absorb it, but also make sure that this team gains momentum and gets out there and makes connections. Because one of the things they're recording is, how many connections are they making with people, and how many engagements and conversations are they having? It's really important. And I would hate to miss this opportunity coming up. But we're always wrestling with the budget and with hours and all of that.
Excellent, thank you, Chief. Any other questions? So we're moving into, is that the end of Finance Committee report? I see the next item on our agenda is the executive session. We requested, I'll go ahead and read the announcements for those that don't know what an executive session is. If you're watching online, it's going to go dark. If you're here in person, we'll be closing our doors and it'll just be invite only for discussion of matters of litigation and of compensation. Right. Employee compensation. So the announcements are that we have the next meeting of community engagement September 8th at 6 PM, Executive Committee, September 8th at 7 PM. Planning Commission also scheduled for 7 PM pending new business. We'll see if there's a conflict there. And let's see, Executive Finance, where's that at? Next Finance Committee meeting will be September 15th at 6 PM. We'll also have Human Rights Commission pending any business. That's also scheduled for 6 PM. And we'll have Council on September 15th at 7 PM.
Right
Any
on
other
September
announcements?
1.
What's that?
And apparently right on September 1.
Okay, and, Recreation Commission on September 1st, pending any changes in the schedule due to the holiday. All right, if there's no other announcements to be made, I'll ask if anyone wants to make a motion to go into executive session.
I move to go into executive session to discuss matters of litigation and employee compensation.
Excellent, is there a second? Any questions? Mr. Goodman, could you do a roll call, please?
Ms. Chester?
Yep.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Dr. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Grimer?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Sure.
Mr. Michelson?
Yes.
David, you're voting, Dr.
Thank you, everyone.